All right, guys, what up? What up? It's 6:30. It is September 1st. Congratulations, you made it to a new month. By the way, I love September. You got football season. You got kids going back to school. It's like the new season. Summer's over. Hopefully, you enjoyed the summer. You know, every season has a little flavor, a little different taste, and you know, the fall and the trees turn colors and things get crisp. All is good. So that's when you guys got to step back into your zone, into your process and plan. If you've been lazy this summer, you know, make sure you're prepared, because the fourth quarter for stocks usually, you know, has a lot of volume, a lot of movement. It could be a trader's best quarter. Usually is mine. My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer. Here we are at the 630 Club, where we discuss what's happening in the markets, the narratives, short-term, intermediate-term, long-term. And I just try and put it in a simple, realistic terms and process where we could all relate and share some ideas and have some fun in life. Cheers to you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you had a good August. I think this is a good song for this week. Pressure. How much pressure have you put on yourself to perform? How much pressure have you put on yourself? Let me put the chart up. When, you know, to catch an oversold bounce, to make money short, to put money to work, when, you know, we're just not in compelling areas, and it's very tricky. So the key is not to put so much pressure on yourself, but just do the right thing at the right time. And if you don't, understand why and what happened. So, you know, we've come in this week. Actually, let me say hello to some of my dogs around the world. I didn't say hi to anybody. I am so impolite this morning. I'm just raring to go. What up, It's? How you doing? We got Philly looking for red to green trade. I'm ready for that too, MLD. Feel like they opened the market up 20 to 30 handles the last 2 days and reversed it to the downside. This setup this morning, to me, is much more exciting than we've had the past two sessions. What up, Florida? Back in your team. That's cool. We got San Diego in the house, Ann Arbor, Michigan. We got Lancaster. We got Red Bank. We got New City. We got Nashville. So many people that I know went to Nashville this summer and they had a great time. You know, state is up and coming. They've been doing that for a while, so all is good. What up, Highland Park, New Jersey? How you doing? Who else we got? 633. We say for a few more. We got York. I lost my phone in Nashville. Did you black out a little bit? Were you out with the boys, or was that out with couples? Sarasota, how you doing? What up? Happy September. That's why you should have played it. You should have played September Morning by Neil Diamond. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. That was like too relaxed to play September Morning. A little depressing too, because of the way the market's been. We got Central Jersey in the house. We got Dallas. We got Boulder. All right, all good things. Let's bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. What up, Houston? How's Cadence been? She's good. You know, I was back from Montauk on Friday, so I went for a run this weekend with a bunch of the guys. She was a little out of shape. I won't, you know, lie for her. She was in the back panting, but she made it. And then last night I took her swimming, but she looked good. She's 8 years old, and she's still running 4 or 5 miles. You know, Chase is getting a little worried that she's getting old, and, you know, that all he knows is life with Cadence, so that's a little sad. But anyway, Chase has his first day of school today, and he got his braces off. Good day for him. He was in the car coming home last night from taking Cadence for a swim. He's like, every day without braces is just a big W. He's like, I can't stop smiling. I'm like, well, you know what? You put them on early. You sacrificed the last 2 years, and now you're done when some of your friends are just putting them on now. But anyway, so you always want to make your sacrifices early. You always want to do what you have to do. And, you know, once you get through what you have to get through, you know, it's better times ahead, usually. But anyway, so here we are with the SPYs. Wow. I always look back at the active sequences, and I always try and figure out what could I have done better? Why was I a little antsy? You know, where did I make awesome decisions? Where, you know, could I have been a little bit better, a little bit more patient? Where could I have had more size? Where could I have given things more room? And that's how I continue to create my inner trading voice, so next time around I could execute better. And if you look here at the chart of the SPYs, you know, we had this active sequence from, here was your June low, but that was tough from here. Then all of a sudden it ended right in here. So I tweeted before, you know, after I said good morning, you know, I remember it come around August 15th when Tom Lee said we're going back to highs and we were overbought. The oscillator was plus 70. I was caught short. I'm like, guys, this is not the place to get all bulled up. for 1 to 3% of upside, we could at least have 4 to 7%, and we're down more than 4 to 7%. But that was just, me being the red dog personality that I'm supposed to be, because I'm on Fox Business every Monday. I write for CNBC here and there, so I have to make predictions. But really, it's when the market confirms it, and the market really confirmed that this active sequence was over, right here, right on this day when it broke below this upper flag. That was your spot. So if you were anticipating a short, that was your spot to to double up, not just get out of pain. But anyway, from there, wow, that's how fast we came all the way down to 393.83. So here was Jackson Hole Day. They tried a little oversold bounce. If you were playing a bounce thinking, hey, we just held sideways, when it broke below that low or that low, you had to get out of Dodge, get short, get rid of loose longs, which is always hard to do, because sometimes you stick in a few things that you're like, oh, well, I'm going to hold this for a while, and, so no matter what, there could be some pain there. Either which way, we went below all the moving averages down to 393. So for me, I talk about my wife's Blood on the Street account that we did very well with. I carved her out over 12% for her entire, for her retirement account. Now I'm thinking about again, I was thinking about when I sold it into here, I'm like, maybe I can get it back, buy it back somewhere into like 403, 405. But then once I saw this candle, I wrote to you guys, I'm like, guys, I am not, you look at the size of this engulfing bearish candle, that should dictate direction for the next week or so ahead. I'm going to be patient. So, now with the SPYs coming into this zone, the way I have to do with her account is it has to close on the lows to get the print. So I will be putting at least one tier back of her BOS account that's basically in full cash again. So, into here, so it could be done. We bought it somewhere around here, and then here, timestamp. You look through my whole Twitter feed, it's there besides her making money, which makes me money because I love her and probably going to stay married, so we'll be sharing that account at some point. But anyway, so into this zone, to me, this is a pretty big congestion zone. Also, trading-wise, okay, so yesterday, I did go out a little bit long. I bought a little Apple into the close because there was a sell imbalance. So I figured that was where a lot of the sell pressure was. What happens is, when you have these imbalances, the reason why Apple's always for sale into the imbalances is because they buy back so many shares that all these funds that need to have a certain percentage of Apple based on the S&P always have more, because Apple's taking their shares out of the float, so they have to mechanically sell some. So I would think today could be a day, I'll show you the chart, where Apple goes from red to green. So I bought a little bit on the close, first time, in a while. I do kind of think that this area holds. So I'm hoping that, we couldn't hold gains the last few days opening up. So maybe opening in the hole. Like right now, the SPYs are at 392.40, down 0.7%, 392.40, coming right into this zone. I would think that this area is a better long today versus pressing shorts into today. Or if you're not short, if you didn't short here or in this day, shorting into this spot, I would think is going to be a little bit, complicated, considering we also have a jobs report tomorrow. So who's going to want to be super duper short just in case we get a soft jobs report and they work off the oversold condition. Last night, the oscillator went out minus 71, so it's probably minus 90 today. So this, to me, this setup, I would think, should be a good one for the active trader. If we were to go from red to green and up a few, then I don't put her account to work because I don't get that print. But that means I'll make a lot of money in my active and swing account because I'm looking, to be, opportunistic today. I have 4 different accounts that I get paid for monthly and quarterly. I would say I'm in 95% cash. So I have a lot of cash to put to work if it feels like it's going to play out today. You're not saying I'm going to put all my cash to work, but I'm just saying that's when I'm tactical, okay, I'm usually in high levels of cash. And here, I was in 14, 15 positions probably from this day, and then I was probably a little net short from that day, and then, became very flexible. And it still was hard. I still got some paper cuts. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The last few days, I've tested a few longs and, didn't get stubborn and lost a little bit of money. So yeah, it would have been better to stay in Montauk. I was in Montauk last week. I had a great week. I would have done almost nothing waiting for this zone instead of sitting here, and doing a few things just to try and make some cash flow with the Alpha team and Red All Access. So, it's a lesson to be learned for me also. So the question is, can we put a bottom tail in the first 5, 15, 30, or 60 minutes? Sometimes you put a 5-minute low, tries to bounce and doesn't. So then maybe a 15-minute low, then a 30-minute low. Then you've tried it 3 times, you've lost money, and then the low happens at 10:30 and you're too washed out to try it again, and then we rally. So make sure that doesn't happen to you. I'm talking to myself because that's happened to me too. You go to the Qs, very similar. Okay, the Qs broke. I remember that day. Does it get below and stay below? And it did right here. Okay, that's when the active bears took over. That's when we lost the 8-day and the 20. We were above it pretty much this entire time. So now we're approaching where we broke out from and retested. That comes in right around this 293.50. So today it would be nice to see maybe we make a low, a little bit of a hammer. We're very stretched from these moving averages, so that would be great tactically. Okay, 3,900 is a 0.6 retracement. Just remember that if you get a 0.618 retracement, that means the market was really weak. There was no demand higher. So when you get a bounce off of that retracement, usually it's just a bounce, and that means we're heading lower. So, don't fall for it. If all of a sudden we do get a nice little bounce, that goes through tomorrow, if that, then just know that, you get a retracement down low. It usually means there was no buyers higher. When you retrace only a third of the range, that means the demand is strong. That means usually, it's just a small retracement. We can make higher highs. Sometimes a 50% retracement. So that's why I'm always looking at the 30 and 50. But if all of a sudden you bounce just because we're that oversold at the 0.618, that just means it's a bounce to be sold, and that means we're probably going lower. That is why I only put one tier to work for my wife's account, just in case we revisit the lows later in September. Exactly. You could use retracements. Like there's these things here on TrendSpot. I don't know if I use them correctly, but like you go from here, you go all the way up to where that was, and it measures the retracements. So like you just had here, 0.61 comes into be like 293. So there are analytics like that you could use, for TrendSpider and some other things. That's how you come up with retracements. And then you need to know your retracement rules on how to measure and what it means. Like if all of a sudden here is your 0.38. So if we would have held somewhere around here, chances are we would have had a better bounce. But by holding just here, usually that means be careful. The oscillator is probably going to be minus 90 this morning. All right, so let's go to Apple. Apple right now is, I know when Carter Worth came out and said, sell it all, I was just saying, listen, you got to just change your language a little bit, because if an investor sells all his Apple, chances are he's not buying it back. If you're a trader and you're trading for cash flow, yes, not a high probability place to buy. And I actually got short Apple right around here when it broke. I didn't get short into strength. I got short when it broke 172.57. Okay, and then since then I've been just kind of watching, and I did buy into the close yesterday. So we'll see. Can Apple be a vehicle today in order to to give the market an oversold bounce? If the market's going to bounce, Apple's going to need to kind of hold around this 155 and reclaim yesterday's low, which is right here. So we'll see. So from 176 down to 20 points in Apple, right into this area, you could use your retracement rules here too. Like just say you look at the retracement rules from the low to the high. Oops, that wasn't it. Hold on. You click here, and you go all the way up to there. This is only the 0.38 retracement-ish area. So that means Apple is still strong compared to the market. If Apple all of a sudden plays downside catch-up, then you better be careful. But Apple will be something I will look at to see if I could buy a little bit more, because it did take some home long to maybe try. Okay, again, this is my thought process today. We'll see if the market confirms it. Tesla hasn't been special in a while at all. So with that being said, I would look at it today, but overall, it's just not great. I've tried it a few times and had some paper cuts. For now, if you look at Tesla, Tesla is down 5 at 270. Okay, so Tesla is below 271.78. So if it stays below that and can't reclaim that, okay, there's really not much all the way down to 255. So, Tesla, we shall see. I didn't show you where Apple is. Apple looked like it was down $1.50. It's down only $1.22, so it's not down too much. It's already showing a little relative strength pre-market. So again, I'll look there. So then you have the news on Nvidia and AMD that the U.S. is saying they can't sell to China anymore. Both these stocks have been problem stocks for a while. They've been in downtrends all year. So no one I know is just sitting in them and holding them. They've been trying to trade them and stay out of the way. I would say Nvidia, if you look at Nvidia, that was a dirty move. I remember driving home from Montauk, and I'm like, all right, so the Nvidia news, and it was down 3 and then went green. I was like, okay, look at that. maybe it's washed out, and then on Friday on Jackson Hole, this candle happened. So they trapped everybody right there, and they really hurt everyone. Unfortunately, that happens. I would think some traders probably took it home long, because usually if you go up on bad news, then it's washed out, and then that happens. So at least if you got, that was probably very painful. If you were a trader, and this is a good lesson, and you bought and took it home, hopefully, once it couldn't hold half, or at least broke this 160, this was 168 actually, you got out of the way. That day would have been horrible. You would have went home and said, wow, that was dirty. You would have lost money. But then, you look back today and say, you know what? I followed my stops. Okay, you were in it here. You got out when it broke. Much better than down here or being caught into this move. So sometimes you got to, just have in your head, did you make the right choice at the right time? This wasn't a bad choice to be kind of long the day it reversed after, missing the earnings. But then if you just held through, then, you didn't do the right thing. But either which way, now you got to see what happens here. The low of the year is 140.55. Okay, does Nvidia hold that low of the year is a big question. Okay, right now it's above it. So it's at 142.69. This 140.55 is right there. Maybe ask Kramer, or if his dog barks twice, that means to buy. I think that's how he makes decisions sometimes. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, just because his dog is named Nvidia doesn't mean you could own it and invest in it. It follows trends. Pelosi sold all just before the announcement. Yeah. I don't want to get into Washington. It's such craziness happening. I think the governor of New York said they would like to have the 5 million Republicans leave. And then I think in California they said by 2035 every car needs to be EV. But then my friend Peter was saying they sent out a notice he's not allowed to charge your EV. There's not enough electricity today. So there's just a lot of rhetoric and everything everywhere. Anyway, control what you can control. What could you control? Your keyboard, your process, your time frame, how you handle your relationship with your wife or husband, and how you do it with the kids, and what you donate to, charities and time around you. And I'm going to be hosting for Oktoberfest September 17th. So if anyone wants to come September 17th to Taylor Park, I'll be there hosting, emceeing with Tanya, and there'll be about 24 bands. It's going to be a great event, huge beer town. We got, Anheuser-Busch to sponsor it, but that's that. So anyway, I think that's going to be a key. If Nvidia could bounce, ahead of this, okay, but if it breaks 140.55, I think that it's going to show that anything could happen. If any stocks start making new lows, new move lows, it's going to show you that, the market might be heading there at some point also. Yeah, CHPT looked decent. I heard the story how Kramer was responsible for you not getting on CNBC. Yeah, that happened. So what happened was actually that's why I was sensitive to the whole Apple thing. I think in like 2013, when I was writing for Real Money and I was on CNBC since 2008, Cass wrote his article. You could Google it, rotten to the core, Apple's rotten to the core. And I tweeted at him, I'm like, Cass, you're a very influential guy. You can't write an article saying Apple's rotten to the core. You can get investors to sell it, and like actually Kramer's his own Apple, which I agree with. If you trade it, you trade it. That's us. We trade real time. We make cash. I'm like, but if you write an article rotten to the core and you sell them out, then all of a sudden you're trying to make 2 points short, and then you're buying it back. That shouldn't be your article. And then whatever. And then he told Kramer, that I'm a bad guy. And then I blocked everybody. And then I started being on Bloomberg and Fox Business every single week. So it's fine. Anyway, yeah, now you don't do the opposite. These guys have been doing this a long time. Just sometimes they cheerlead at tops and they get really, really negative at bottoms. And those times are usually opportunities where, into euphoria you want to be selling, and into the crazy pessimism you want to be looking for reversals, and then you want to follow trends, and you also need to know your time frame. So it is what it is. So again, back to Nvidia, I think 140.55 is big. If it holds above it and starts to bounce off it, that helps. Maybe an oversold bounce today, but if it doesn't hold 150.55 and heads lower, other semis are going to probably be for sale. If Apple doesn't reverse today, then this area is going to be a little hard to hold. So we'll see. Then you have oil. Oil's been a little weaker. What's the USO doing this morning? The USO is down another 1.6%, 71.93. In time that's going to be good. We want lower oil. Right around here is when I called it the top in oil, which whatever, is just something I need to every now and then make statements. And then it's been just to the downside. And this looked a little dirty too. Like, looked like oils were ready to break out, and then all of a sudden gap down. That's why commodities are hard to trade. Gold's hard to trade. Anything that's tied to like the U.S. dollar and overseas markets and data are hard. So, if you look at the XLE, also, which has been the strongest sector, looks like it's at a key inflection point. I got rid of my Oxy on this day when this broke in the XLE, and now this is the low here. This is 78-ish. This was the zone I talked about yesterday, which was buyable the first time. It's usually buyable the first time. The second time it might not be. So be careful just going back to the well here. If this were to break, which we do know the number now, chances are it could be a little, 78.94. It could be a little temperamental. 78.94. Okay, let's see where it is now. Where do we think it is? It's probably, I would think, probably right around there. 78.94. Let's go to XLE. XLE is 79.45, so holding above it. Okay, so if you said to yourself, hey, I want to buy a dip versus a level, you buy this versus yesterday's low, and you could see what happens. Same thing with Oxy. Oxy was a great trade also. I got out when it broke 72.82, and I didn't quite get filled yesterday. I had some bids in at 78.55, and it didn't get there. It went to as low as 69.55. Let's check out where Oxy is today. Oxy's down $1.40, pretty much right there. So, see how that handles that pivot. Maybe it goes below, it comes back above it. We'll see. But I took that off as a swing trade. So I'm going to be looking to see if I could be a buyer of the SPYs and the Qs into this lower area. Okay, is it the end all be all? Is it a retest of the lows? No, but from here to here, ahead of a jobs report tomorrow, I would think that there's going to be some kind of opportunity there in the SPYs and the Qs. It all depends. Watch oil. If oil goes up a little bit off the lows, that could help the SPYs, so that helps energy names. If it doesn't, maybe tech gets a few different flows. Watch Apple. Apple's been for sale literally for 2 weeks. So Apple will need to reverse to help tech. Watch that level in Nvidia. Does it make new lows of the year, or does it hold it? So you got to connect all these dots to figure out what type of action we have today. If there's no balance today and we just closing the dead lows, yes, I will be putting the BOS account, that's the blood on the street account, back to work that I went to cash with, timestamped with you guys, and everyone yelled at me when I was selling, going to cash at 42.70 in the S&P. Everyone's like, well, Tom Lee says we're going back to highs. I'm like, okay, good for Tom Lee. Same way when we were rallying up from here, well, Wilson says we're going back to the lows. I'm like, okay, well, right now we're in a nice trend. So as a trader, you can't listen to strategists. You have to know what's out there and make decisions based on the price action and knowing what time frame you're looking to be involved with that price action. And you might have multiple time frames if you can handle it. I've been doing it for 22 years. I can handle it. If you're 21, 22 years old and you're tuning in, A, congratulations, you're learning early. B, you might not be able to have 7 accounts. Maybe you just have an active account or a swing account or a day trading account where all you do is go flat every night. That's cool too. That's how I started. You got to start somewhere and you have to evolve. The only way you evolve is if you learn. The only way you learn is if you find great material to read and train yourself. And the only way you get your inner trading voice is by sitting down, trading, making decisions, and writing a journal. I still write things down every day if I screw some things up, so this way next time I don't screw them up as bad. And that's about it. All in all, I wish I started learning stock market 20, 25 years ago. On the macro stance, the bull market usually wins. Just put your money in every single month. Yes, I have a 401k. My wife has a 403b. We put money in every single month. In the long term, that'll probably be where we make the most money. The blood in the street account is only for special situations. I put it to work 3 times in the last 15 years, and this year so far worked great, and now I'm looking again. And then for a living, you got to really make sure if you're going paycheck to paycheck, because most traders don't have a salary, they don't have benefits, they eat what they kill. I hate to use the word, but if that's the case, you better really, really work on your process and really keep your mind sharp, because it's very easy to lose your cool and then lose money that you're not supposed to lose, and then all of a sudden you have to make it back when things get more conducive to your style. So don't lose money, just by being frustrated and being bored. Boredom and frustration are a trader's worst enemy. So you have to figure out how to not feel those things when things could be that way. And that's it. I got to jump. Good luck today, guys. We'll see how it goes. I'll try to let you know what's happening as it's happening. But that's really for the Alpha team that watches everything that I do live. Scott at T3Live.com if you want to talk to a trader counselor to maybe be a part of the Alpha team or Weather All Access for the future. If not, I'll see you at the 6:30 Club, and I appreciate you.